How do you think the city influences your work even when you're not consciously referencing it?
I want to be heard. I think that's like the thing. Everybody's like, I just want to be heard. And I feel like that's the kind of like emotion it brings out of me when I create. It's just like, no, y'all gonna hear this one. No, y'all gonna hear this one for sure. It's like, so I think that that Memphis spirit resonates with me more than anything.
Today we sit with an artist who takes the raw energy of hip hop, its legacy, its iconography, its emotion, and translates it into texture, something that can hang on your wall or sit in your home. She recreates album covers, legendary moments, and cultural memories stitch by stitch, proving fine art doesn't have to hang in a museum to be important. It's about the culture she preserves and the stories woven into every inch of her work. This is Kid Kardiac. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Creatives. So before we dive into the art itself, we have to understand the heartbeat behind it, the childhood memories, the first albums, and the culture that helped shape their eye. So I know hip hop has been a huge part of your work for some time, probably since the beginning. So who introduced you to music? Like, was it a parent? Was it a friend? Like, how did you fall in love with music?
Definitely my parents. My mom was really into like Prince, like my first introduction to Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind & Fire, Donny Hathaway. But then my dad was into like the Barcades and like Confunction and Parliament and Bootsy Collins. So I kind of got like a different vibes from them, but just like core music that really kind of has like resonated with me. And then that too, it kind of speaks into like the hip hop universe. It's like a lot of those people are being sampled, but it gives me the same feeling. And I think that's the connection I make like from my childhood. It's like my parents' introduction, but then the hip hop part came way later for sure.
All right, so it definitely stemmed from soul first.
Soul first.
R&B kind of moved over into like the hip hop realm, which I feel like, we all, if you're a millennial, you kind of grew up, with your parents listening to their music.
Yeah.
So like, let's talk, like, what would you say is your first album? Like the first album that you bought yourself, where it was like, all right, you were in the store, it's like, I'm gonna grab this right here.
I can't remember the first album I bought. I do remember the first hip hop album that my dad bought me though.
Okay.
I remember we used to go to the Sam Goody that was in Whitehaven. It was like by the mall. And at the time, like, I liked the Hard Knock Life song by Jay-Z, and he bought me that volume 2 on cassette, and I still have it too. And I remember like he didn't know it was not it was the explicit version. He had no idea. I think he wasn't familiar with the parental advisory sticker, but that was my first introduction to hip hop, and I was just like, yo, this is crazy. I played that tape so much. But prior to that, I had like R&B stuff. Like I never really had. That was my first introduction to hip hop for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I feel like Hard Knock Life was outside. I used to rock. So of course my grandmother, mother, aunties, dad, everybody, they played music, and I had an older cousin who kind of put me onto like the rap. You know what I'm saying? 3 6 Mafia, the Project Pats, it's one particular Jay-Z. It's just outside of Memphis rap. Like he used to listen to Jay-Z a lot, so that was one of the albums that was kind of prevalent for me. You know what I'm saying as well. When would you say you realized that tufting could be an outlet of creativity for you?
Well, tufting came about for me like during the pandemic, so 2020, and at the time I was just really trying to fill the space in my room. I have a music space in my house, and so I just want something cool. Couldn't find anything. And then once I got past all the kind of preliminary things, trying stuff out, and I got to tufting, I felt that the process was really therapeutic. So it was just something about it. It didn't matter what I was making at the time, but it was just like, oh, this feels calming. This feels like something I need to be doing. And then I guess maybe about a couple months of doing it, then my brain clicked like, let me see like what hip hop related things I can make with it. And then that's when I was like, okay, I'm kind of in a space where that makes me feel something. I don't know what it is, but the creative juices started flowing.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of got the ball rolling and some direction, I guess. Yeah.
Currently, we're sitting here in your studio in Crosstown, where you have a residency at. So you've been here for a couple of months, I believe, and the residency is about to end soon.
Yep.
So like, just tell us a little bit about that. Like, how did the residency come? Tell us about the residency. How did it come about? And just like, you know, what you were working on, like while you were here.
Right. So I applied for this last year, just really on a whim. I was kind of in a place, not feeling super confident about direction with art. So I just was like, wow, I don't have nothing to lose at this point. Applied, got it last year, and it started in September. So I remember when I applied, I was like, I would love to make bigger scale things that I can't necessarily make at home. Like murals or like just something that was like, just not able to be made in my house. And so I remember I also was talking about like functional art, like furniture. This space has it's opened my eyes to like the possibilities of what else I could do. I realized that I'm like have limitations for sure working at home. And so I think that's been the biggest like growth moment, I guess, or just like got you like, okay, I need to find a space now. Like yeah. So, but it's been really good. And I'm looking now, it makes me have some like forward motion about what's next. Yeah. So when I got announced for this residency, I had already had this kind of brewing. I knew I wanted to do a big size piece. And then the idea, I wanted something with colors, like changing. So I was playing around with like RGB kind of concept, also like blending of colors, maybe something that would like fade into each other. And then I started exploring the idea of the 4 pillars of hip hop. And so I was like, okay, maybe I could do something for the MC, 3 phases of a career. And then, you know, that showed their evolution, right? So then I was like, well, Kendrick, you know, he's one of my favorites anyway. But I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do Kendrick. Because it just shows to me like what the MC has become, right? Yeah. So then residency starts, I started messing around with this and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So the evolution of the MC, red kind of symbolizes like early in his career, there's hunger, there's confidence. He's slightly arrogant, but also naive to like fame and like what that really means. So the green is just like his biggest growth of his career. He's getting the most money, he's the most famous, he's the damn era, so he sold the most records he's ever sold. But I made it bigger, him bigger in this space because he's also susceptible to like other people's projections, fear, fame, pressure, all that other stuff. And like, so I wanted the optimism to be there, but also like showing like, no, all the stuff is coming at you now because you have like full attention, right? And then the blue is like, freedom, inner peace, you know, you're at your healed self, more calmer, understanding yourself, and also like fearless. So I wanted it to like represent all 3 parts of his career, but also just show the bigger picture of the evolution of an MC. And so that's how that came to be. And I wanted it to be where up close it looks like mosaic, but the further away you get, the clearer it becomes that it's Kendrick.
Now that we know where the inspiration comes from, let's step behind the scenes. Let's see how these ideas transform from sound and memory into something tangible, textured, and alive. So let's talk about the process. Mm-hmm. So how do you, from idea to finished product, like tell us about that process. Like how do you even come up with ideas for things that you want to do? Yeah. Is there a sketch process involved? Mm-hmm. Like how does it, walk us through. So
I think my process has definitely evolved over the last couple of years. It used to be like I would find a photo and then I would like clean the photo up, you know, use Photoshop and then try to like draw like where I want my lines, like colors to change, where the light is coming from. Like I would do a lot of prep work. Now it's more like the research about why am I picking this photo, and then what can I do to elevate it more than just being the photo on the paper. And then that process is pretty lengthy because I'd rather sit with something and allow it to evolve and be something different rather than kind of like saying, oh, I just want to hurry up and rush this out really quick. But yeah, so I'll take a photo, depending on what it is. I'll like this one, I probably worked these photos for like 2 weeks. Just trying different, before I even started like tufting, like deciding which photo would work would work well together, right? And then deciding like, okay, what shades of blue and green or red I want to use, and like how I even want the shapes of the panes to be, you know, like this stained glass look, like, and then like I use like Procreate, and I would draw over each individual thing. And so there was a lot of prep work involved with this one, because I wanted to make sure that the scale was going to be right when I turned it into a bigger piece. But then like once that happens, I'll draw it out. I'll use my projector to like get my scale right. I'll draw it out, and then this tufting, I probably tufted on this for a month.
I know you started with rugs, and so you've recently kind of moved into furniture and some sculpture pieces, but we'll come to that part.
Yeah.
But how do you decide like if a piece is going to be a rug or if it's going to be like a piece of furniture?
I think it's like the idea itself. Like when I did that skateboard chair, it was like, it just made sense to like incorporate skateboards with it. And I've even got another idea for a chair that it just makes sense. Like, I don't want to reveal what it is, but like, it just makes sense of how I'm kind of formulated in my brain. Like it needs to be a chair. But more than often, like even now a rug, it feels weird to say it because I don't want anything on the ground anymore.
Yeah, refer to, yeah.
Yeah, because like, it's like, even like I'm being more intentional now where I'm just going to put wood on the back of everything and to make you hang it on the wall. And it's interesting at how it's evolved that way. But that's where I'm at. I feel like everything I make now needs to be on display for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I definitely feel that.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned when you first started, you found it to be therapeutic. So like what part of the process is like the most meditative for you?
When I'm tufting, like putting the headphones on, putting the noise cancellation on, and then like feeling the vibration of the gun as I'm going, and just not thinking about anything but what I'm doing. It kind of makes me feel this like place of zen. And I think maybe just creating in general makes me feel that way, but this is like the particular medium I'm working on, so that's why I'm in that space. But it's very calming to me, because I feel like I'm just kind of like free in a sense. I don't have to think about whatever else I got going on with my full-time job or anything. It's just like I'm creating, and that feels, yeah. I don't have a name for this one yet. This is still in progress.
Is the ramp a part of it?
A ramp is a part of it. I built the ramp too, yes. So another thing, the 4 pillars of hip hop is graffiti. So I was really researching like that movement and like the freedom that's associated with it. And then I was like, you know, it would be cool to tuft a bike. And so I went through all these different iterations of like, maybe I should tuft like graffiti on a bike to bring it around. But then I started really researching the black biking culture, street biking. And I came across Jimmy Mack, and he had one of the first to create like a black biking company. And he also was sponsored by the Source magazine. So I was like, okay, there's where the intersection is with hip hop. And so then I was like, let me tuft that on a bike. And this is just like the first iteration. I was trying to play around with like sewing different things together and seeing how that would look. And I've got like, I'm gonna do more on like the spokes and the seat and maybe something up here. And then as far as the ramp goes, I'm like, well, how can I bring it back to the graffiti? Because I want to show like there's a parallel between graffiti culture and then biking culture. And so originally I was gonna do like the graffiti, tuft the graffiti and then put it in different places. Like it would be tags, like almost, but it would just be tufting tags. But then I was like, let me just research a little bit more to see like, if I didn't want it to be too literal. So I'm still kind of exploring how I'm gonna make that happen on this idea. But I've been exploring like rappers that were like graffiti artists first, just trying to show that like culture part of it. But yeah, this is what I got so far. It's definitely a work in progress. This ramp, I wouldn't advise skating on it, but it's a replica of what, you know, what they use and yeah, so yeah, thank you. So it's just all the ideas coming together, but the main focus is like the freedom of each of these different things and how they like relate to each other.
So one thing that I do really like about your work is it's not just like one dimensional. You know, usually and not to refer back to them as rugs, but you know, of course, when you started, they were more so rugs. But your pieces like have depth to them. You know, there's contrast between light and dark. There's adding like the wood panel. There's not just rug. There's wood. There's sequence. There, you know, some projects have sequence. And I remember your piece from the Unravel show. Who is it? Mike Tyson. He's like in the ring. I mean, not Mike Tyson. Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
And it's like the crowd.
Yep.
It's like I don't know. And then there's like the part where you may shave something down to create relief in it or whatever. I don't know, but you don't see that too often with most people that do tufting. Then you've moved into like doing the furniture. Not only the furniture, like you're working on like a sculpture type piece or whatever. So like, how did this process evolve? Like these techniques that you picked up, like was that intentional, or was it just kind of like something that just kind of happened, or like how did that
I think
work?
a little bit of both. I think I kind of got bored with just like making a moment for what it is, and then like my discovery process has been like, okay, how can I elevate the next, how can I like, not necessarily top it, because I feel like I still love those things that are like that, but like, how can I elevate or bring more to the moment, right? So a lot of those techniques, like even working with wood, it's all been trial and error. Like it's nothing I've ever dealt with before. Even sculpting, I've never done that stuff before, but it's like trying to develop these like techniques and habits and new things in order to just make the moment better. And I think experimenting, I guess like this is like kind of almost like my own school of creative, what do I want to say? Like it's my own creative school. Like I'm teaching myself how to do these things, and then hoping that like, just like with tufting, like over time I just get better and more efficient. And then like, okay, I know how to do this, and then I can combine this with this and this. And so I've been trying to like raise the bar each time, and that's really just been the discovery process. Yeah.
For real piece. One of a few for real pieces.
Yes.
You got a name for this one?
Not yet. I made a chair, and it's already called Skateboard P chair. So it's like I need to explore a different name than Skateboard P over and over. But this piece, I probably started it last summer. I wanted to really play around with layers. Layers with the tufting pile, and also layers with wood and what that would look like together, and then using different mediums. So I had his face and even the chain part tufted already, and then it sat for like a year in the same spot because I just hadn't quite got to a place where I was creating. And so then I had already drew out the background, and I knew I wanted it to be like this reflective color, and I knew that I wanted to recreate his chain, but it was such a lengthy process that I was like, okay, let me just get into gear. So earlier this year, probably in January, I drew just like what that would be for the chain part, or at least for the pendant part. And then I took it with me. I went to Hawaii, and I just was like setting these stones. So all that set, it's like thousands of stones in there, like hand set, which took forever. So once that process, I could see that closing or like that ending, I knew, okay, I can finish this for this residency too. And so the hand, like I had all that tufted. I just knew that I wanted it to be 3 layers, but I'd never done anything like this. So I was trying to figure out how I could make it still look like it's coming at you, but explore. And so this is just an iteration of layers, really. But it's cool, because it's like, this is like childhood for me. When I see that chain, when I see this pose, like that's what that means.
The ring.
Yeah, like even to like gluing stuff together and make the ring. And so this was really an experimental thing, like kind of a idea I just kind of cultivated and then see if I can make it happen.
With Memphis being a city traditionally rooted in music and sound, every artist is shaped by their environment. How has Memphis, with its soul, grit, and legacy, imprinted its influence on Kid as an artist? I talk to a lot of creatives, and a lot of people feel like, oh, I gotta get out of Memphis to make it, or Memphis, there's nothing here, or whatever the number of things are. Like, have you ever felt pressure to leave Memphis, like in order for your work to be to be elevated or looked at in a certain way?
Yeah. I've got friends that are like, hey, you need to step outside of Memphis. Like, it's like, you know, you're gonna reach a cap. And to an extent, I feel like I understand that, right? But I just feel like Memphis has so much like hidden potential, and I do feel like it's growing as well. So
Definitely.
I don't want to like count it out.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know, and being from here too, you want to see like I feel like we're a city of underdogs. So it's like I feel that in my spirit too, you know, and it's like I just want to prove that like nah, I can do it here too.
Yeah, I love Memphis. It is, of course, it's slow. It's slower than some other, you know what I'm saying, cities, but we have a lot of talent here, a lot of heart here. I enjoy creating and doing things here and bringing things that people think won't work in Memphis here, you know. And it, of course, it'll always be home, and I still want to live in some other cities, but I think I always have a base here, and I'll always still create. Even if I do live in another city, I'll still continue to do the work that I do here in Memphis.
Sure.
So, like, are there any moments that you recall that have like made you feel affirmed, like in your artistic journey here?
Yeah, this year has been really monumental for me. The show at University of Memphis was, it was huge. Like I think in a space where I've kind of feeling like I was kind of hitting a rut, you know, like I get plenty of like praise online, but I think it's a whole different thing when you get validated in person. And so it was like that, it brought that feeling back, like, okay, I'm where I'm supposed to be, you know? Sure. And then with this residency, especially with the open studios, just allowing the public, because I always feel like my art is better consumed in person. Yeah. So like, it's always like from old to young, just seeing people be like, no, this is really cool. This is dope. Like, it's affirming that I'm doing the right thing. Yeah. Like, you know, these are like my brainchild. So it's like, I know to an extent that I'm cool with it, but like getting that extra validation is always helpful. Yeah.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel that. So we know Memphis is, you know, has a huge legacy in the musical realm. Mm-hmm. How do you think the city influences your work, even when you're not consciously referencing it?
I think it's just like I said, like underdog spirit. I'm really like competitive with myself. Yeah. And like, I think I don't necessarily want to like say that I'm doing better than myself in a sense. I guess growth is part of that. Yeah. But I think Memphis plays a big part of like, no, I just want to be like, I want to be heard. I think that's like the thing. Everybody's like, I just want to be heard. And I feel like that's the kind of like emotion it brings out of me when I create. It's just like, no, y'all gonna hear this one. No, y'all gonna hear this one for sure. It's like, so I think that you know, that Memphis spirit resonates with me more than anything.
Favorite Memphis artist of all time?
Oh gosh.
And favorite current Memphis artist?
Okay, favorite Memphis artist of all time.
In music.
In music, yeah. I love A-Ball and JG, but I also love 3 6 Mafia. Yeah. So I would go back and forth between them of being favorite. Okay. Favorite right now, I've been listening to Glorilla. Yeah, Big Glow. I would say probably her more than anyone currently, yes. Mm-hmm. So still staying in the 4 pillars of hip hop, right? We got breakdancing. So I was like trying to figure out how I can incorporate that. And I was like, you know what, I should just make a full body sculpture and then put tufting stuff on top of that. So I researched like different poses. I have like more than this too, like more inspiration photos. And I was trying to find something that was like practical that could stand alone, like not have to be like propped up on anything. And I wanted to make sure I put it on a piece of cardboard to kind of like still get that 80s feel, like, you know, that's their stage, right? So then I used PVC pipe under this and glued that together to like make the base. And then I just did like spray foam all over that and then carved it with a hot knife. And so it's still in progress. Hopefully I'm be able to finish this before I leave out of here. That way, like when I get home, all I'm doing is the tufting parts. But I'm gonna tuft like, I'm thinking a tracksuit, something 80s, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna add some like shoes to it. I wanna add like So maybe a Kangol. Yeah, maybe some like, I might add some iterations. Like I got some like shell toes at home, so I might take some shell toes and put some tufting on top of that, you know, just to keep the theme going. I'm thinking about like maybe a Kangol or something to just fit the theme right. And then I'm gonna have like the hands gonna look tufted, the face is gonna be tufted, and then I'm gonna use like, this gonna be a whole new thing too. I'm thinking to do it in like almost like patterns, like if you would make clothes, right? Yeah. And then sew everything together. Yeah. So this is gonna be a challenge, but I think if it comes out the way that I'm projecting in my brain, it's gonna be hard. Yeah, yeah.
I'm excited to see this.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard. And when you finish the bike and the ramp.
Yeah, for sure. Cause I think like all of this is like, I'm in new territory. So it's like, I'm kind of teaching myself how to do it, but at the same time, it's like, I really ain't got nothing to lose. It's gonna come out well, I think. Yeah.
Creating in a city with so much history comes with perks and challenges. This is where craft meets confrontation. So kind of moving back to that, like working with like especially institutional places. What does the term fine art mean to you? And do you feel your work fits within that space?
I don't want to sound jaded. Fine art, it feels like an institution, like you said. Like it feels so gatekeepy, but I know it's like, it's probably not supposed to be intended that way, but that's how it feels. Yeah. Do I think that my art fits in there? I do to an extent. I think the voice, I think sometimes, you know, the subject matter in spaces is probably like, they're not receptive. But I think what I'm covering is our culture. You know, you can say it's hip hop culture, but it's Black culture. Yeah. And so I think it belongs. Like, those stories still need to be heard. Those stories still need to be told. And for me, it's more than just the person I'm doing. It's the influence they had directly on the things, my own interests in my life, and like the things that I'm inspired by. So like those stories deserve to be told just like anything else.
So back to the gatekeeping part, have you ever faced gatekeeping from galleries or institutions because of the medium that you work in?
Yes, I have, yeah. But it, like I said, it's more subject matter. And it's an interesting place to be in because it can be defeating, you know? It can feel like, well, this is my voice, you know? Yeah. Like, what else am I, you know, where, you know, I guess the stories I'm telling, is that not good enough, you know? Yeah. But to me, the lesson that I've had to learn is like the self-awareness that I've kind of gained over the last year and a half or so. It's like, no, my voice is important, and what I have to say needs to be said. So sure. I have to do more like stand in my own stuff and be confident and just ride with it. And like, I'm seeing the way that, like, even the inception of this is just a progression of an idea, you know, but it's still telling the same stories that I want to tell. Definitely. So it's like, you know, I just got to keep going, and the people that get it will get it, and the people that accept it will accept it. But at the end of the day, I have to be okay with it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So how do you advocate for your work to be seen as collectible art rather than just decor?
I think the first step for me was putting it on the wall.
Putting it on the wall.
Yeah. Like, let's put it in the same playing field as you would a painting, you know, as a canvas or anything. And then another thing is just like being authentically me. I think that's what I have to offer, and be unapologetically that. Yeah. And I think people will gravitate towards that confidence for sure. But yeah, put it on the wall. I think it's maybe a level of respect that I'm demanding.
No, for sure. Speaking of being authentically you, what do you think your art says about you, not as an artist, but as a person?
I think it probably says I'm pretty cool. I don't. It's like a capsule of like, I think it paints a picture of like my interests for sure. Even like doing the open studio and bringing some of my stuff from home and incorporating like some stuff I've kept from childhood and just like painting who I am and why this is important. It makes sense. Like, I've always been immersed in the music. I've always been immersed in the people that, like Pharrell, like Kanye, like those were the innovators that I was following and trying to emulate. So it makes sense. I think it just paints out who I am.
Is there any piece or particular piece that you made that taught you something about yourself that you didn't expect?
I'll say the Muhammad Ali piece. The idea I had, it was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but putting this on a puncher bag. But once it came together, I was just like, oh, I really could do anything I want to. That was like the first iteration of that.
When you think about legacy, what do you hope remains?
God, it sounds so like daunting. It sounds so like far away, but not really. I just hope that people like appreciate the work as much as I do, and I hope that I'm teaching something. I think the place I'm in now is like I really want it to be educational too. I think we're in such a fast-paced society, and also too like a lot of our moments are being erased. Like if you don't have it in print, like finding stuff online is disappearing. Like I really feel like making physical representations of these moments is important, and I want that, I guess, my legacy to be like, no, like these are important things and this is why they're important. And I'm hoping that I'm like passing that knowledge to somebody else who might not even have known these things exist, you know, just the way that I was introduced to them, like just passing that, like that feeling, you know, and then installing like curiosity in other people too, like to maybe like research more and then find out more. And that I think that concept or that practice can make us all like more well-rounded to our culture, you know, and to be aware that things happen in everything's a circle, like things come back around, but you're being aware of the foundational parts of that. Yeah.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. That's all I have. Is there anything else you would want the people to know?
My website is kidkardiac.com. No, I appreciate you for this talk, because like I feel like I have a lot to say, and I'm kind of getting in this space of being more comfortable, like expressing the things that I want, which has also been a long journey too. And so I want people to be aware, like I'm here, and just I'm on the go, like, you know, I want people to see my journey as well. So.